up everyone? Been a little while since I made a video. As you may have noticed, I moved house, so that's what's caused the delay. Anyway, I thought just as I'm getting ready for hunting season and I'm getting a few of my things together and came across something which I think might help you. I know I don't know if it's something I figured out by myself or somebody told me, but I know it's something that I really like. I've had to use it once before and saved me a fair bit of time. It's been done before, but talking about D-loops, and this one's with my little twist, and I think it might help you, especially when you're out there in the field and something happens to your D-loop and you got no bow shop to go to. So let's get to it. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about. Most of the time when you need to change a D-loop, you have a big old roll of D-loop material like this. You tie the knot on one end, you tie it on the other end, tighter than you normally would have it, and fray off, cut off the second side of your D-loop material and mushroom it and pull it as tight as you can, and hopefully you get it the right length. Well, if you tie a D-loop often enough, you will get it the same length, but none of us do that. We don't work in a bow shop, and we probably tie this knot once every 2 or 3 years. So I came up with a little plan which I think works pretty well, and if you like a really short D-loop, it is difficult, but it's still doable. I use a short D-loop and it seems to work fine for me. So let me explain what I mean. I take this little pack with me when I go with a couple of broadheads and practice tips, and in the little pouch here, this is where I keep all the string stuff. So I've got a couple of extra peep sights, probably should go over there. Another string for the drop away rest, and then this is what I'm talking about. I have these pre-cut little lengths of D-loop material that have been mushroomed on both ends. Now the advantage of this is, and it does take a little pre-planning, I tied these a couple of times, not that many, and I found a length of string which works best for the size of D-loop that I want. I measured it pretty accurately. The length is unimportant because that's pertinent to me. You might want it a little bit longer or maybe even a little bit shorter. So I measured the length, and when I got that, I cut a whole bunch at the same length and keep them in here. So now when you're going to tie the knot, you tie it, you squeeze that little second mushroom through there, you pull it as tight as you can, and you know that it's going to be the same length every single time. And that's what I think is a winner. When you get out in the field, maybe you don't have the same equipment, the same facilities that you do at home, and if you tie a D-loop there and it's a little bit longer, it's going to put your aim off, and it's going to be a real pain in the butt. So I think this is a winner. I'm not great at tying D-loops, but I'll show you how it's done, just as a little refresher, and then I will use one of these and show you how I get this on my string. As I said, a little bit finicky, especially if you like a short D-loop, but it's very doable, and you get a great consistent length every time. Let me show you what I mean. So here's what you want to do. I start with it on this side towards me, and if you can't remember how to tie it, once you start putting the string around, you're going to almost figure it out yourself in memory of what your D-loop used to look like. So as I say, put the string over there on the side towards you. I just loop it over the other side around that little pillar that I made and put it over the bowstring, and then you can tell it's got to go through there. So you just make your gap and through it goes. There you go. So what you don't want is to end up like this and then figure out that your loop is actually going to go over this way, because now you made a mistake. So clearly you want the next part of the loop to be going where the main line is, not to the tag end. So this is where you can now use your mushroom, if you had it, use a pair of pliers or whatever you want, and pull this down as tight as you can. And as I said, I'm starting off with the standard method where you would use a longer piece of string than you need. Something I do recommend that you use are these kind of pliers. These D-loop pliers are awesome for helping you pull a D-loop nice and tight. I'll show you how I use that in a minute. So next part of it is the same but in reverse. So as I said, you want this loop portion on one side for the bottom and then on the other side for the top. So you put the string over, and now what you want to do, if you remember, I started with the string, I started with the string on the side close to me. I'm now going to start with the string on the opposite side, and you can work it out if you don't remember exactly how to do it. I want the tag end to finish on this side, so I'm going to put the loop through there, going to go around this little pillar that I've made coming down, and I've messed it up. Nope, coming down and put it through. I thought I didn't have enough string there. So then you would pull that nice and tight, and as you can see, the loop on this side and opposite on the other side. And this is where the guys would just pull it as tight as they can and then cut it off there somewhere, fray it, burn it, mushroom it. Then you got to pull it tight again. And with a bit of shooting and time, the D-loop is going to stretch, and that length you're almost uncertain as to how long it's going to go, but that's the standard method or the usual method. Now I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, so just moved on over to part of the string with the serving on there. That's obviously where you'll be tying your D-loop, and the important thing here is if you change the position of your D-loop up or down, it makes a really big difference on where the arrow is landing. If you've ever moved your rest during tuning your bow or sighting it in, you'll notice that a tiny movement on your rest makes a really big difference on where that arrow lands further out. And if you have moved the D-loop, you will know that change is even bigger. So it's really important that you keep your D-loop in the same spot. What people normally do is they'll take a nock that they're using and they'll slide that on there, and that'll keep their position. It does work, kinda, but there's always a chance that once you remove this D-loop that the nock could get pushed up or down, and that is going to be a bit of a problem for you. So what I suggest you do, I have one of these silver Sharpies, magic markers, whatever you call it, and if you just color that part of the string, that's not going to get rubbed off in a hurry, and that'll help you keep track of where exactly you need to position your D-loop. Right, so here we have the pre-measured and pre-cut piece of D-loop material, and this is what you would do if you're out in the field. So obviously I'm not taking this one off right now, but here we go. I'll just tie this one for us while we're chatting. First part is easy because you've got lots of string to work with, but and I don't really want to keep this on there, so I'm not going to tie it too tight, and that may cause a problem. As I said, if you are using a longer D-loop, then this will be really easy. If you like them short, well, obviously you don't have much material left over to tie the next knot, or the next side of the knot. So that's the first half, and what I would recommend, just to give yourself some room to play with, once you've got this on there, the first half, get that as tight as you can, so you've got as much string left over to tie the next half. Next half is pretty hard. So remember, we want the tag end to end up on the outside, so I'm going to start in here, and you're probably not going to see too much of this because it's a little bit finicky, but this is how we do it. So this last bit of getting that mushroom through there is the tricky part, but it just takes a little bit of patience and perseverance, and you will get there. As you can see, it's just coming through. You might need to get a little Allen key or something. Let me do that. Something like this to help you push it through. But you'll see the benefit of this once it's all done. So Excuse my fat fingers making a mess here. Push that over. There we go. So that mushroom is now through as well. So now you look at that and you think, holy moly, that is just a tangled mess of nothing. Well, that's not true. Get something small, put it bang in the middle there, something small and not too tight. I'll put it on this side so you can actually see. Give that a little pull, and there you can see we're starting. It looks tiny. As I said, I like a short D-loop. That's obviously way too short to even fit a knock in there. But once you start spreading it out with these magic pliers, you'll see what I mean. So the way these work, you actually open the pliers up, and you'll be able to fit this small piece inside there. I'll try and do this backwards so that you guys can see what's going on. But get that wedged in. One half of it is going to go on the bowstring, and the other half is going to be on your D-loop. Once it's on, you just give it a good tight squeeze, and there you go. I'm not going to tighten this up too much, but as you can see, from a D-loop that looked like it was way too small, that's now nice and tight, and you can get your knock in there, spread the knots either side if you need to, so you've got some room, and there's plenty of room to have your knock moving. And with a little bit more tightening on that knot, you're going to have plenty of room to put your release in there, and that's it. So as I said, main advantage of this, use the same length of string every time. You're going to get exactly the same length D-loop, and you won't be faffing around in the field trying to measure that all up. I hope that helps. Well, there you go. That's how I change my D-loops when I'm out in the field, and actually the same way that I do it when I'm here in my little workshop at home. Some of the other things I like to use that I think make it a little bit safer for you. If you're putting a sharp blade next to your bowstring when you're removing a D-loop, in my mind you are just asking for trouble. You never know when you're going to do a little slip, or maybe you're moving the blade away and you end up nicking your bowstring, and that is a problem. It might not break straight away, you might not even notice, and that's even worse. So one of the things that I like to use are these little scissors. They're actually from a hobby store, and they just have a curve to them, and that helps you when you're cutting the strings close. You don't have that point pointing down at your string. So that's one of the things I like to use. I would definitely not recommend using a razor blade or anything really sharp like that. If you really have to use a knife, you got to be so careful and take your time. Tips are great. We all have different ideas, and I know I'm always happy to learn something. So if you've got something that you'd like to share with us, please let me know, and maybe I can try it out and do a little video for you. Later on this season, I'm heading off to hunt in just under 3 weeks' time. There'll be plains game hunting in Limpopo, South Africa, and then after that I come home for a little while, and then I'll be heading off to Mozambique to try and hunt a crocodile. Got a few ideas on how I'm going to do that. That's going to be an exciting video, hopefully, if it happens. But if anyone's got any ideas on crocodile hunting with a bow, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. See you later.